he knows.
Yeah, yeah, just a thought.
Funny, 'cause in the heart of a handicap relative living on them.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
You'd think that they'd wanna shovel it.
well, once there's
You know
one
what?
set of tracks there,
reports?
it's just a part
Well,
of
that, and that's what happened this weekend. I didn't, I drove by several times, and I'm like, okay, how can we fix this? So we'll put our heads
That's
together.
not a bad idea though, those magnetic things.
You know, we put those bases and removed them. Then we could just put some poles to the outside that would just be in front of the handicap sign where they could park.
We'd have to reset them because if we took them off and then winter bring the grader.
Just the things that.
Blow them out.
But if we
Okay.
can set them down like a 3/4 of an inch or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We'll
Yeah,
think
'cause
something.
as soon as we cleaned it the other day, there's like 2 cars right in front of
Oh, I know. I just noticed a bunch this weekend as it's starting a winter crowd, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
They probably can't see it.
with lack of police enforcement, they could have taken 8 cars on Saturday if they're in
Tyler
town.
gonna speak tonight? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
he just wanted to,
Here, we're gonna up our budget
wanted
to
to
pay
be-
them more. I wanna
Wanted to
see more
spend quality
enforcement.
time with the kids.
yeah, totally.
Not less enforcement, I wanna see more enforcement.
South Whalen went with the county.
Yeah.
We did, but we didn't establish a final.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Well, ours is going up 20%, so we have a contract, for the year. Yeah, but it depends on what the
We
incremental
have, we
increases
just
are.
need to decide and then we
When
write
you
it
read
in
through
there,
the
but we didn't
contract,
do that when
it
we
says,
did
states clearly, next
promotions
year, they
and
want
we
another
just said
20%
that
of $270,000.
Them, yes,
Plus,
correct.
part of the fee
So
goes
we're not
automatically
readopting
to
it, I guess.
equipment, which is fine, I'm all for upgraded equipment, but I want better service.
That's not good. I heard South Salem just pulled out too.
Yeah, so
That's not good.
these,
I think it's
so
good.
we wanted to
I don't
amend
mind
it
scooting
to
down
add the
and
ACHs.
Yeah,
Yep, and then you have to add, the minutes.
And never seen like $8 an hour.
You just
for,
wanna be closer to
coffee.
me, Bubba.
Yep. So the
How
minutes.
Never seen like $8 an hour on their end.
Under the
Huh.
consent agenda.
So I'd like to know how much,
$8 less.
but is that accurate too, like. How much is it an hour for an office?
Figure out what your response time is for
Really
Bailey
interesting.
Bridge.
Yeah,
You call 911.
Yeah.
there's only a handful of counties, so that's county officers, I mean,
Yeah.
they're spread thin already.
But they already
Your
should be.
advantage, away you go.
But they would have to hire another if we had it.
Oh, I mean, we're somewhat, well, we had 2
I
officers
can't
who were
wait for a
regulating
month
our
from now
area for a
when we're
while,
like,
you know?
no clue.
Yeah, I got my tablet.
We got Chief Regan on, Michelle?
I don't see her yet.
Chief Bland's on table.
We have Chief Bland on here.
Alright, well, let's get started on that. Call the City of Roslyn Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, December 14th, 2021, and it's 4:30. All rise for the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call, please.
Councilmember Gruber,
President?
Councilmember Weiss,
Here.
Councilmember Shear,
Here.
Councilmember Cook, here, Councilmember Missile,
Here.
Councilmember Adams,
Here.
Councilmember Rand,
Here.
and Mayor House.
Sure. Okay, I got a couple agenda updates. We didn't get the 2022 hotel motel tax grant funds into the agenda, but it's in the package. And then there was some kind of Scribner error, so we've got 3 sets of minutes that were added, or they probably would have been on the agenda. I think it was just a clarifier there. And then there's 2 changes to the ACH, one for November, one for December. So as it stands, the consent agenda, the checks and EFTs as follows: accounts payable in the amount of $78,038.00. Payroll as of December 5th, 2021, the amount of $12,628.50. November ACH change of $1,185.91, and additional December ACH $84.86.51. And that's all in the registers that you guys have received.
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Any updates that you have?
Any discussion on council? All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Okay, we'll move on to the administrative reports, and we'll start with Chief Bland. Can you hear us okay?
I can. How about you guys?
Sounds good.
Great. So just a quick report. So I know you guys got a long agenda. So we're up to about 4,100 calls for the year so far. I am happy to report that we're finally able to replace Officer Scott Uren with a new hire. His name is Matt Anderson. He comes from us from Colorado, originally from Washington State, moved to Colorado where he became a sheriff's deputy there. And they're looking to move back to Washington, and Cle Elum was his choice. So Matt, being as he did his certification through the state of Colorado, he'll have to go through the Equivalency Academy here in Washington State. That academy is backlogged, so I'm not exactly sure when we'll be able to get him in, but hopefully soon. And in the meantime, while he's waiting to be accepted to the Equivalency Academy, we'll start his FTO program. He's going to start first part of January, so you'll see him on the street. And you can't miss him. He's 6'7" tall, so you guys will obviously be able to tell who the new guy is. So looking forward to bringing him up to introduce him to you guys.
Did you have to give them a new vehicle or a different vehicle?
I don't know what we're gonna do. Actually, I asked him that because he doesn't fit in the normal SUV. So back in Colorado, they had him in a Ford pickup. So I'll probably end up giving him my truck to run, and I'll just grab one of the old junk cars that we have, and I'll take that one.
Great. Thanks, Chief.
Great news.
I think,
You got any questions at all?
No, that's great, Chief. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Okay, thank you. You too. Happy holidays.
I think Chief Regan is on here, so just a second.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Chief. You're up.
Hi, so we're still waiting on our engine. I guess the only other thing that I had for you guys is that we did bring in ProSite for the station. So we're going to have a couple of bills for that. There is one, I had them do an estimate for like sealing up around the building. And that one's going to be about $1,500. So I wanted to bring that to you guys to see if you would approve it or not. We did end up having some issues with the aid car. There was one cable that had gotten chewed through and had to be replaced, and that cost about $400. So I'm hoping that now that we're, addressing the problem, that nothing else is going to happen.
Chief Reagan, is this from a rodent infestation?
Correct.
Okay.
Did you get him?
We got one. So we're working on it. But there's like some really big gaps around the building that they can get in. So trying to, if we can work on sealing it up or something. But yeah, we had to get something done so they don't destroy everything.
Anything else, Chief?
We did our vote the other night, and I was, pending your approval, voted in for chief for the next 2 years. So
Great.
Congratulations.
Yep.
thank you. I think that's it.
All right, thanks, Chief Regan.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too.
So I think we can say that. So next up, the commissions and committees, I guess we can start with CIC.
Yeah, CAC did meet, yeah, just a short report. Kim Larned received 20 pounds of native seed from DNR, which she will, distribute to people to, go out and start, spreading. And also she has a call into the weed board to find out about, what we can do about the weed situation in the spring. The city reported that Wilderness Ridge was contracted to remove upwards more than 80 standing dead pine that were missed in the original logging, so that's occurred. And the major concern is CAC would like to hear what plans the city has for cleanup and restoration of the landing, especially in the Crystal Creek area. I don't know if you've been up there to look at it, but it's pretty torn up. So that's what the CAC was talking about.
Councilman Missile, anything from the
Let's see, start with, Conference of Governments, we have our meeting tomorrow night. Really have high hopes, we'll get the $265,000 needed for the completion of the Penn Place bottleneck project. Polling the members today, I think it should go through, I'm pretty hopeful. So we'll have that meeting tomorrow night. We have not had a planning meeting yet this month. I think that's about it.
Excellent. Councilman Ray Adams, how's the cemetery group?
Cemetery's good. Eagle Scout Trigby Starkovich started his fence replacement project this weekend, and the snow actually benefited us. They had a little walk behind Postal Digger, and I met him up there Saturday morning, the day they started, and they had a nice little crew of some volunteers from the Boy Scouts and himself and his dad, and the snow sort of benefited everything. It was able to walk a little tractor with no soil disruption or anything. It was turned out perfect. They liked working in the snow. It was clean, and they've got about 3/4 of the post set already, and great start. And another great project done by another citizen. So and an improvement to the cemetery. So super happy.
Thanks, Joe. Bubba, go ahead.
Obviously last council meeting I was late because we had a water leak on the 500 block of West Nevada. It was our first leak we got it fixed together as a crew, so it really went really well. We started working on about 9 o'clock in the morning. We had water back on about 4:30. Basically, one of the blow-offs, which is on a dead end part of the line, it looked like it had been hit before, so the leak, I have a piece of pipe, I brought it in if you guys want to see, but it looked like it had been leaking probably for almost years, the way the C900 was actually worn down. So we just replaced it with a cap and put a whole ecology block for a thrust block, so we can go back in there in the spring and install another blow-off. But overall, the weather wasn't too bad, but it still was kind of snowy, rainy, cold, but still better than doing that kind of stuff in 2 feet of snow. Obviously, you guys probably all saw November 9th on Thursday. That was our first, where we took the graders out and plowed the whole town, more than 6 inches. We only had Big Jim for 2 hours in the morning because he was taking his water treatment plant operator class. So Kyle and I actually spent about 9 hours in the plows, which went really well. We had to, it was our first time, so we had a few kinks and we had a couple things to clean up the next day. But other than that, pretty much every morning we're here at 5, obviously, and Jim heads out in the plow truck about 5:10, 5:15 to take care of the hills. If he is doing something else, I'll take that roll on. Kyle, he heads out in the loader, cleans up downtown, pushes piles back, touches up alleys. So far it's working out good. We're kind of making our routine. Other than that, I got some good news today. City of Roslyn has their own water treatment plant operator. Jim passed his test this morning, so
Yeah.
he was super happy. I'll have my class next month, I think the second week of January, so we'll go from there, and then we'll basically, once we get those two, we'll sign up Jim for the cross connection specialist, and then we're pretty much going to be by ourselves. So,
Nice.
Awesome
Does
job.
that mean we'll terminate the contract with Valley once they're both certified then?
That's fine.
Great. Good job. Make sure we tell Jim if you see him.
yeah, he was super happy.
No, he should be. That's great.
I was.
It's a good deal for the city of Roslyn.
Is that it, Bubba?
Yep.
A couple other things. Obviously, the library is part of the project, so we got it covered up, but it looks like we're not going to have to move it, or us. So far so good, the contractors feel like we're gonna be able to stay.
That's great.
There could be some time where we gotta have people out of here. And,
That's
and
understandable.
Brenda took a little spill so that they're actually, since they're working that area, it's probably even better, cause she's gonna take a week off or so. I'm feeling better, so. Good job. Unlucky for her, but lucky in the timing sense.
Yep.
And apparently I haven't announced, Virginia, I've hired as a treasurer. Virginia, sorry, deputy clerk. Victoria is the treasurer. And then I don't know if everybody's met Kyle either. Kyle's one of our public works members, and then Jim is the other. I guess I never really introduced anybody.
Welcome aboard.
You? I'm writing and
I was
talking.
gonna say, that wasn't very.
She's
I thank you very much. I'm writing and talking.
I know.
Brenda doesn't have to do minutes anymore. So that's all we've got for announcements and all that. So in person, obviously non-budget hearing items if anybody wants to speak. Yeah, go ahead, stand up for your name and your address, please, sir.
Yep, I'm Daryl Chapota. My family's from Roslyn, but I currently reside on Beal Point. Not really a good public speaker, so I got some point notes here, and if you'd let me read them, I would.
Within 3 minutes, please.
All right, well, I'll get her done then. Some of you may not know me, but I am Daryl Chapota Jr. My family immigrated from Yugoslavia to Roslyn in the 1890s. They've lived here, worked in the coal mines, they continue to live here. And my family, like my ancestors, I continue to volunteer like they did, different activities, and I've traveled the country and worked in the coal mines too, because I think that following what your heritage is important. But I faithfully, proudly served the citizens as a volunteer fireman in the city of Roslyn for several years, and that's what this letter is about. I believe that serving the community and honoring my heritage is an important facet of life. I have worked and served on many volunteer fire departments honorably and gone above and beyond my training and leadership requirements in every position I've held. This letter is to inform you that I am resigning and ceasing any activities, volunteer or not, with the city of Roslyn and the Roslyn Fire Department. I strongly feel the direction of the fire department is heading is the wrong way, and there's a plan to systematically remove members like myself who don't fit the agenda of certain individuals. Mind you, these individuals have clout with important people, and most of which are not even from the area. They don't represent the traditions and values of Roslyn or the Roslyn Fire Department, and these are traditions that we used to hold dear. Since my involvement with RFD, members have passed me up with promotions and other roles, and these members and personnel have minimal experience, and the success of them is solely to benefit themselves and those who push them up the ladder. I feel my time at Roslyn Fire Department I've been discriminated against. I mentioned earlier I'm part Slavic, but my mother is American Indian. There have been several occasions where fellow members have made cracks, jokes, and other disparaging remarks about it. I have personally witnessed other minority members suffer the same treatment. What I'm speaking about goes beyond typical firehouse hazing and other non-hurtful teasing that is typical of being in the service. Since my time, several members have been bullied, harassed, and singled out, forcing them to either leave the fire department or suffer being removed. I've witnessed new members be voted in the first meeting. Meanwhile, I get passed up for several years. These new members also receive radios and other essential equipment, all of which I've provided on my own cost. I do not regret my time with the Roslyn Fire Department, but I feel I'm suffering this same treatment and I am not welcome anymore. It bothers me that we allow members to be members under sham voting processes and loopholes. Some of the problem individuals do not want to be quote-unquote boots on the ground, but rather administrative personnel without holding any office or title. Due to my experience and exemplary record, I have several offers with other departments, and most importantly with this letter I want to thank Sky O'Shaughnessy, from one former fire chief to another, for always having the firefighters' backs and supporting us, none of which is now happening. Leaving it at that, I will turn in my badge, my other issue equipment, and I hope this letter and my time is taken seriously by anyone listening. also will be notifying the state fire marshal, county commissioners, and the volunteer fire council of the situation in Lammers Island. Thank you.
Sorry to hear that, Dan.
Yeah, well, here.
If you'd like, we can meet privately and you can tell me exactly what you're talking about.
That's all I had to say, so I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay.
Daryl, thank you for your service.
Hey, thank you for bringing this up too.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other citizen comments?
Kelly Blue, 145 Fifth Street. I'm gonna ask the same thing I asked before. What is the city's masking policy? I know that office staff is not always masked when I'm present, and also that construction workers moving through public space are also not masked. I would point out under the police contract that I hope the discussion on this matter reviews what was discussed at the 10/26 admin meeting that was actually a council meeting in violation of the Public Meetings Act. And the mayor polled the majority of council on their opinions. There's been no discussion of this matter at any council meeting since then. Concerning the water system and the water system plan, I'll point out, as it was documented in my email of 12/10 with some hours in the packet twice, the city didn't even have a copy of this plan until I asked for one. I asked the council to review this plan, as there is information in it that is out of date or inaccurate. I also asked you to follow up with Theo and request detailed information on the process and timeline for getting this plan approved. On his comments about the transmission line and quote, and what role and who is the quote new project manager he mentioned in his last presentation to the council. What his updates on his work securing fundings for the line is. And perhaps it might be helpful if Theo could provide written reports on such important matters as has been a tradition with other engineering firms that work for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, members of council and Mr. Mayor. Doug Kilgore, 145 Fifth Street. I share Kelly Ballou's concern about the masking policy. This failure to observe these practices creates a danger to the public and other members of the staff who are forced to work under conditions that don't comply with state regulations. I also have a concern about the water system plan and its and the failure to have a plan, the impact of that on our funding for future projects, especially the water transmission line. I'm relying on the statements that Theo Leonard made verbally, although he has, as Ellie Ballou remarked, never, to my knowledge, provided a written report. But in his remarks, he did say that the city had lost 10 years of water system data, and that he had no ability to prepare a water system plan because he only had a PDF copy of the plan and didn't have a software version of it. I have to ask the council and mayor whether this person is